All right, strap yourselves in, because today we are tackling something truly mind-boggling: time travel.
Time travel, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen it in movies, like hopping in a DeLorean and
Right,
zipping through
right.
wormholes.
Of course.
But is there any actual science behind all this?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're going to explore today.
Okay.
And to do that, we're going to be using an episode from a podcast called Hyena.
Okay.
Now, that's Arabic for the pasted text.
Interesting.
And they really get into the possibilities and the paradoxes of time travel.
Yeah, what I find fascinating is how this podcast goes beyond the usual,
Right.
like, pop culture stuff
Yeah,
and
yeah.
connects time travel to actual scientific theories,
Right.
and particularly Einstein's theory of relativity.
Einstein, yeah. He's kind of a big deal when it comes to time travel.
Right.
But honestly, relativity, it always seems so abstract to me.
Mm-hmm.
Could you break it down for us non-physicists?
Yeah, absolutely. So before Einstein came along, everyone thought of time as this constant thing, right?
Well, yeah.
Just ticking away at the same rate for everyone everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But Einstein's genius was realizing that time is actually relative.
Right.
Not this rigid backdrop to the universe, but something that can be warped and influenced
Wow.
by gravity and motion.
Really?
This is where the concept of time dilation comes in.
Time dilation.
Yeah.
So time isn't just this constant tick-tock.
Right.
It can actually stretch and compress.
Yeah,
That sounds almost impossible.
it does, but it's been proven.
Really?
There's this famous experiment where scientists took two atomic clocks, which are incredibly precise,
Okay.
and they put one on a plane flying at high speed
Okay.
while the other one stayed on the ground.
All right.
And when the plane landed, the clock that had been flying was
Mhm.
actually a tiny bit behind the one on the ground.
Wait, so the clock on the plane literally experienced less time
Exactly.
just because it was moving faster?
Exactly. That's time dilation in action.
Wow.
And it means that the faster you move, the slower time passes for you,
Oh, wow.
relative to someone who's stationary.
Okay.
And this is where the idea of traveling to the future becomes theoretically possible.
Okay, so if we could somehow build a spaceship
Right.
that could travel near the speed of light,
Yeah.
we could essentially fast forward through time.
That's the idea. And the podcast uses this great example. Imagine you hop in this super fast spaceship
Okay.
and travel for what feels like a year to you.
Okay.
When you return to Earth, decades could have passed.
Wow.
You've essentially taken a shortcut through time
That's incredible.
by moving at such an incredible speed.
Yeah.
Of course, the technology for reaching those speeds is still way beyond us.
Right.
But the principle is there.
That's mind-blowing. So traveling to the future
Yeah.
might actually be within the realm of possibility,
Mhm.
at least in theory.
Yeah.
But what about going back in time?
Right. Everyone wants to go back in time.
Right.
That's the real holy grail of time travel, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is where things get even trickier.
Okay.
The podcast dives into the concept of wormholes.
Wormholes.
Yeah, which are often depicted in science fiction as these tunnels
Right.
that connect distant points in space-time.
Yeah, wormholes, but are they just a figment of our imagination?
Right.
Or could they actually exist?
Well, imagine the fabric of space and time,
Go.
not as a flat surface,
Mm-hmm.
but as something that can be warped and bent,
Okay.
like a trampoline.
Okay.
Okay. A wormhole is like a tunnel
Mm-hmm.
that's created when 2 points in this warped space-time
Yeah.
are brought close enough to touch,
Oh.
creating a shortcut between them.
Okay.
The problem is we've never actually observed a wormhole.
Right.
And even if they do exist, the science suggests
Yeah.
they would be incredibly unstable.
Unstable. How so? Wouldn't you just zip right through?
Not quite. It's thought that to keep a wormhole open and traversable, you would need an enormous amount of energy.
Right.
Something beyond anything we can currently generate.
Wow.
The podcast mentions the idea of exotic matter,
Exotic matter.
which has negative energy
Okay.
as a possible solution.
Wow.
This might sound like something out of Star Trek, but there's a theoretical basis for it in physics.
Negative energy. That's a whole other layer of mind-boggling. So even if we could somehow find
Yeah.
or create this exotic matter
Right.
to stabilize a wormhole,
Mm-hmm.
are there other obstacles to traveling to the past.
There are, and they come in the form of paradoxes.
Paradoxes, right? I've heard of those.
Yeah.
Like, what if you went back in time and accidentally killed your own grandfather
Right.
before your parents were even born?
That's the classic grandfather paradox.
Yep.
And it illustrates the potential for time travel to create logical inconsistencies that could literally unravel the fabric of reality.
Oh, wow.
So if you prevent your own birth, you couldn't have traveled back in time to do it in the first place.
Right.
It creates an unsolvable loop.
So even if we could figure out the wormhole thing, these paradoxes seem like a major roadblock
They do.
to actually ever traveling to the past.
But the podcast also introduces some intriguing possibilities from the realm of quantum mechanics.
Quantum mechanics.
Which is the study of the very, very small stuff in the universe.
That's even weirder than wormholes and exotic matter.
It is. And the podcast highlights some recent discoveries that suggest our understanding of time might be incomplete.
Really?
They mention neutrinos. These tiny particles that seem to behave in ways that challenge our usual notions of cause and effect.
Interesting.
They also bring up an experiment at the University of Queensland where scientists were able to simulate time travel on a quantum level.
Wait, are you saying they actually built a miniature time machine?
Not exactly. They used a quantum computer to create a system where a particle could interact with its own past self.
Oh, wow.
And it didn't create any paradoxes.
That's incredible.
Now, this is all happening on an extremely small scale. And it doesn't mean we can build a time machine tomorrow. But it does open up some fascinating possibilities. Maybe there are ways to manipulate time that we haven't even imagined yet.
Wow. So we've got time dilation and wormholes and quantum mechanics.
It's amazing.
It's incredible how this podcast, Einstein on A, connect all these seemingly disparate ideas to the concept of time travel. But it's not just about the science, right? What really blew my mind is how they delve into the philosophical implications of actually being able to travel through time.
That's where it gets really interesting. The podcast takes us beyond the mechanics of time travel and asks us to grapple with the big questions. What would it mean for humanity if we could change the past or see into the future?
Yeah, those questions really stuck with me. Like, imagine being able to witness historical events firsthand.
I know.
You could be there when the pyramids were built, or see the signing of the Magna Carta, or even travel to the future and find out what happens next in human history.
Exactly.
It'd be like having access to the ultimate interactive textbook.
Exactly. History would become an immersive experience, not just a collection of stories and artifacts. But it also raises some ethical dilemmas.
Oh, yeah.
If you could change the past, would you?
That's a great question.
What if you went back in time with good intentions, but your actions inadvertently made things worse?
That's the thing that always trips me up about time travel stories. It seems like even the smallest change could have huge unforeseen consequences.
Exactly.
The podcast mentioned something called the butterfly effect, right?
Yes, the idea that even a seemingly insignificant action, like stepping on a butterfly, could ripple through time and alter the course of events.
Wow.
In unpredictable ways.
So would it even be worth it?
Right.
To mess with the past?
It makes you wonder, right?
It really does. And what about knowing the future?
Right.
Would you want to see what's coming? Even if it meant knowing the bad stuff, too.
Yeah.
Would it change how you live your life in the present?
It's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
Some people might find it liberating. Others might be paralyzed by fear.
Right.
The podcast explores these different reactions and how the ability to see the future could impact our sense of agency, our motivation to strive for things, even our belief in free will.
It's so interesting how it challenges like our fundamental understanding of who we are and what our place is in the grand scheme of things.
Precisely. It forces us to confront some really deep questions about the nature of time, consciousness, and the very fabric of the universe.
That's a lot.
It's like opening a door to a whole new dimension of thought and possibility.
And Cécile Chiton doesn't shy away from those mind-bending possibilities.
No, they don't.
They take us on this wild ride.
Yeah.
Through some seriously thought-provoking scenarios.
They do. In the next part, we'll delve into some of their most intriguing and speculative ideas about time travel.
Right.
Get ready to explore everything from alternate timelines to the possibility that we've already been visited by time travelers from the future.
All right, hit me with the grand finale. I'm ready for it.
Okay, well, remember how we talked about the possibility of advanced alien civilizations having already mastered time travel?
Oh, yeah, that's the part where we went full sci-fi.
Well, the podcast takes that concept even further.
Okay.
It poses a really intriguing question. What if some of the unexplained phenomena we've encountered throughout history,
things that have baffled scientists and historians for centuries, are actually evidence of time travelers?
Wait, are you suggesting that aliens might be visiting us from the future?
It's a fascinating possibility, isn't it?
Maybe from different points in our own past?
The podcast doesn't present it as a definitive answer, of course,
Right.
but it encourages us to consider alternative explanations for those mysteries that seem to defy conventional understanding.
Okay, I'm totally on board with this cosmic conspiracy theory.
Right.
Think about it. How else do you explain those massive stone heads on Easter Island?
Right.
Or the intricate Nazca lines etched into the Peruvian desert?
Exactly. They seem way too advanced for the civilizations that supposedly created them.
And what about those ancient Sanskrit texts
Right.
that describe flying machines called vimanas? Or the Antikythera mechanism, a complex astronomical calculator discovered in a 2,000-year-old shipwreck.
Yeah. It seems incredibly sophisticated for its time.
It does.
Could these be hints left behind by time travelers, either from our own future or from another civilization entirely?
Possibly.
This is blowing my mind. If this were true,
I know.
it would rewrite our entire understanding of human history.
It would.
It's like adding a whole new layer of intrigue to the story of our species.
It certainly challenges us to think beyond the traditional narrative and consider the possibility that we're not alone in the vast expanse of time and space.
It's a big universe out there.
It is.
And maybe, just maybe, we've had visitors from other points in time.
That's possible.
So after this incredible deep dive into the world of time travel, where do we stand? Is it a fantasy, or is it a future waiting to happen?
Right.
Are we being visited by time travelers, or are those just wild theories?
I think that's the beauty of exploring these kinds of topics.
Okay.
They push us to think critically, to question our assumptions, and to embrace the vast unknown that lies beyond our current understanding.
I love how Cheyenne reminds us that the universe is full of mysteries that we're only beginning to unravel. We may never have definitive answers about time travel. But the journey of exploring those questions is what makes it so captivating.
Absolutely. It's the pursuit of knowledge, the constant questioning and seeking that drives us forward. And who knows what incredible discoveries await us as we continue to probe the mysteries of time and space.
This has been such a thought-provoking journey.
It has.
From the mind-bending physics to the philosophical dilemmas to the tantalizing possibility of time travelers shaping our history.
Right.
I don't know about you, but I'm definitely looking at the world a little differently now.
I think that's the hallmark of a truly great deep dive.
Right.
When it leaves you with more questions than answers and inspires you to keep exploring, to keep questioning, and keep your mind open to the infinite possibilities that the universe holds.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this incredible adventure through time.
It was my pleasure.
And remember, the exploration doesn't end here.
Right.
Keep diving deep into the fascinating world around us.